Oshi No Ko is one of the heaviest anime out there. The themes it deals with are real and tough to grapple with. Suicide, murder, harassment, you name it, and it's represented in this show. Beyond just the big items too, the series is full of broken people struggling just to get by. I said in a previous video that Oshi No Ko is about all of the ways that love can mess you up, and Season 3 has been a further vindication of that idea. And yet, Oshi No Ko doesn't feel like other dark anime. Despite everything terrible that happens in it, I never find myself dreading hitting the play button on the next episode. It is depressing and painful, but it's also funny, triumphant, hopeful, and most of all, purely engrossing. What prompted this video in the first place was reading through a thread on Reddit, I think, about Oshi No Ko. And an opinion I saw over and over again was someone saying, the show looks really good, but I just don't want to watch something depressing right now. And they're right. This show covers some serious subject matter, but I was surprised at how little that specific characterization of the series resonated with me. So that's what I want to talk about today. How does Oshi No Ko tackle extremely dark material while still avoiding becoming a black hole of emotions? And what effect does that have on the show as a whole? In my mind, there are two broad categories that contribute to Oshi No Ko's overall feeling: content and tone. The content is what actually happens in the show, how the plot is structured, and the tone is how that content is presented, including things like pacing and visual style alongside all of the more nebulous parts of tone. Let's start with the content, which is more tangible. As I said in the intro, the content of Oshi No Ko covers some truly difficult stuff. But what balances it out is how much stuff the show covers that is also truly lighthearted. I think a great example of this comes in Season 1, when Aqua and Kana skip school together. As they're throwing the baseball back and forth, we get a moment where Aqua is contemplating the loss of his old identity to his new self. This is a core tension to the series as a whole. Yet in an instant, it's interrupted by Kana mocking his delusions of self-grandeur. Or let's look at the entirety of the Tokyo Blade arc. While the contents of the play itself are not lighthearted per se, the ways that the stage acting intersperses between the intense dramatic beats has a similarly mitigating effect when it comes to weighing everything down. It works in reverse too. Pivoting from the relief of the Tokyo Blade after party immediately into Aqua receiving a positive paternity match with Goro is another example of how this show can ping-pong between moods in an instant. By mixing and matching all sorts of plot points into any given episode, or even any given scene, Oshi No Ko keeps itself from falling into a moribund abyss. Another way in which the series keeps things from getting depressing comes in how it handles the heavier moments themselves. What separates Oshi No Ko from being a flatly downer show is the presence of intrigue in its dark moments. This series is steeped in the mystery genre, if not one outright, and that is a clever framing tool that preserves story momentum. Take one of the most impactful and sad moments in the show, the death of Ai. This scene is difficult for me to return to even now, with how well it nails the devastating nature of the murder. But equally importantly, what does the story make sure to do in the same breath as mourning Ai? Give Aqua the motivation to find Ai's killer. Her death was not a final note. It was the starting point for the entire series. With grief for Ai, we also have intense curiosity about who did this and why. That's what Intrigue is, and it's not limited to just that moment. Akane's suicide attempt is a powerful reflection on the harmful effects of social media and the cutthroat nature of the entertainment industry. But we also shouldn't ignore that it leads to her connection to Aqua, and her deep research on Ai that is still paying plot dividends 2 seasons later. And maybe most of all, let's talk about the scene with Kana and the director in Season 3. The way this scene was handled is so interesting. It's really creepy the way that the director is using the allure of a role in his movie to try and sleep with Kana, but it doesn't play out like you would expect. There's a calm rationality to both of their thought processes that makes everything much darker, but also allows a space for reflection that makes Kana's eventual rejection much more impactful. I actually already had the script written for this video before this episode aired, but I just had to put something in. This show is rich in intrigue more than anything else, which is what I think keeps the plot racing ahead. There's one more content-forward approach that Oshi No Ko takes to keep things from dragging, and that's the presence of criticism and commentary in its story. A lot of the most devastating moments in the story are nested in a critique of the entertainment industry. There are a million different examples of this, but one of my favorites is the entire character of Kana. She is defined by her desire to be loved, her endless pursuit of adoration, the result of childhood stardom and a neglected upbringing. She is one of the saddest characters in the series, and yet the clear commentary on the handling and care of child stars has a mild nullifying effect. Well, not nullifying, because her emotional impact is still wickedly sharp, but it provides context and something larger to chew on in addition to our sympathy for the character. Every character in the series is like this to an extent too. Ruby provides many touchpoints for inspecting the idol ecosystem. Aqua gives a window into acting. Abiko talks a lot about licensing and derivative works. This commentary is one of the standout elements of the series for me, but it also undeniably keeps things from just being flatly sad. So that's how I feel that Oshi No Ko's actual content is created and structured to keep it from being a one-note experience. Now we get to talk about the really fun stuff. What does Oshi No Ko do to keep its tone dynamic? First and foremost, this anime is slick. That sounds a bit surface level, but its coolness really does a lot to offset a potentially depressing story. The music choices, the camera angles, the more striking visual compositions, these all elevate Oshi No Ko and keep it moving forward. When something looks this good, it makes it more fun to watch. The concert intro in the premiere of Season 3 is a great example. The animation is so smooth, especially on the minutiae of the hand movements, and the entire package is brimming with visual pop and flair. Even when it's clearly alluding to manipulation in the story, the presentation is so well done that it pulls away from being purely ominous. Or maybe let's look at Season 3's proper OP. This is truly spectacular, and rides the exact line between dark and slick that I'm talking about. Every shot in this opening is a striking image, and when put back to back as one complete thing, it's staggeringly effective. The entire vibe is clearly foreboding. Kana as an artifact forgotten about, Ruby as consumed by grief for her mother, Akane smothered by fame. But it just looks and sounds so good that the cool balances a lot of these sadder undertones. I know this all sounds a bit imprecise, but it's hard to detail why something makes you feel the way that you do. One other way that Oshi No Ko warps its tone is with the characters themselves. This show's main players are such a vibrant and interesting group. The voice acting is stellar. So much life breathed into the characters just from how they say the things that they do. The voice acting also enables the slingshotting between tones, and gives it validity. Kana going from crying about still loving Aqua to loudly complaining about her unrequited love is a shift that could easily go wrong, but the vocal work just nails it. Akane's detective mode is another example of a spot really elevated by the acting. The flat affect and accelerated speech emphasizing the obsessive personality perfectly. It's more than just the voice acting though. Oshi No Ko has a group of characters that are so well defined and likable that every scene feels riveting. Even when they make mistakes or do something morally dubious, It's impossible not to hang on their every word and wonder what they're going to do next. This is the place that I most feel a connection to Aka Akasaka's other notable work, Love is War. These are two series that are radically different when it comes to subject matter, but his character work is equally intoxicating. The major players in the story really grab you, and have such clear-cut motivating factors while still being complex people. This is a huge part of why I think Oshi No Ko avoids being one note, having characters so exciting and entertaining to watch. Oshi No Ko is a show unlike any other. I really do believe that. The visuals, the original music, the insane story beats involving reincarnation and revenge, all of them mesh together to create an anime that is impossible to categorize neatly. It is also undeniably dark though, and deals with some of the most serious topics in media. Nesting a lot of those dark elements in real-life scenarios only adds to its efficacy. And yet, this show somehow avoids settling into one uniform tone, even as the series has gone along and our characters are in tougher and tougher spots. It does that with a clever combination of content and tone choices that keep the story above water, giving us a final product that is as intriguing as it is moody and brooding. I think the best way to illustrate this point is simply to look up a plot synopsis for the show online. If you just read the plot of this anime, you would have such a drastically different idea of how it feels than what actually plays out, right? Oshi No Ko defies bounding boxes, and I think that's part of why it holds such a special place for me personally. And that ends today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm aware that this may not be a popular opinion, but if anything, that has me more excited to see what you have to say in the comments below. If you do go into each week of this show dreading what comes next, tell me why, and why my points didn't resonate with you. Also, please give fair warning in advance if you're going to mention manga spoilers. As someone who had the ending spoiled myself, I am vigilant in protecting others. If you enjoyed the video today, liking and subscribing helps a ton and will keep you in the loop, as does hitting the hype button on the mobile app. As always, I'm Slam Anime, and I'll see you next time.